Hello, everyone. Welcome to ForcedToPod, a Force to White production. My name is Saxon, but you can call me Sax. Joining me tonight, I have the man who knows no stranger nor pepper too spicy, the sports ball fan having the most fun ever right now. Nick, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty well. As you said, having a good time watching and enjoying sports ball. Although I am a little bummed out that Formula One is going to be ending after this weekend, so I have to wait a while for some race cars. But other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, getting through. That's the Formula One. I think I was talking with Elle the other day. Formula One racing in general is just something no one in my family really was interested in, but I kind of, with a lot of sports stuff, I kind of live vicariously through you guys. But that is one that's kind of just beyond my reach. So, with all that, but I love that you guys love it. So, and alphabetically last, but first in our hearts, we have the man who would always rather be outside than wherever he's at right now. Who knows? Might be back in his fiance's childhood bedroom. The man, the myth, the legend, the one and only. I am the mountain man, Walker. How's it going, man? You're shaking your head already. How's it going?
Sometimes my kindergarten teachers would actually start the line with the Z. So I every once in a while I got to be first, but not this week apparently. I'm having a sad day, as I told you all. I had to sell my beloved Bronco, and
Rip.
tough times. So
Rip to a
be like
legend.
that. R.I.P.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that later. We're going to get all in there. Yep. Salutes to the Bronco. We want to hear all about that. That's going to be our second topic of the night. But one thing that came to mind with you saying that, what was your guys' number? What was your number in class?
Oh, fuck.
I don't remember.
I don't
remember.
You do?
I was 24. 24 was my number. Like
There
that's
was always a different amount of kids in my, it's
I
never
know,
the same
but
amount
like
of children.
you get in there, right? Like I mean,
I don't
for
think they
me it was
numbered
just
us.
24 almost always, like where I hit, and 24 was the number that I picked up on. At this point, like I wouldn't ever really say 24 is like my favorite number, but at the time it just was. That was my number. That's the first one I remember being in class. So
I'm sure mine was around there. We're alphabetically similar.
it's true. Yeah. Guess we're going last names. But
I have no idea.
no clue.
Not a clue. I was never very good with numbers.
That viscerally just popped in my head. I just remember line up, number order, number 24, started the back of the class, and then you just got a couple kids that be after me. So, well, y'all, this is our 10th episode. We have graduated to double digits. So Walker's getting better with those numbers. He just said he struggled a little bit when he's younger. We're working on it. We're counting up. So every week adding one, and we have hit the big 1-0 this week. So we do apologize. Last week we had some slight technical difficulties. As we said early on, if you see any mess ups, no, you didn't. Be cool. You guys were very cool. I did have some people DM me, send me messages. Hey, this is going on. I had already identified it. We just figured out some of the audio was corrupted, and we dropped the connection. So tonight we are working on a new solution, have a backup, so that won't happen in the future. We apologize, but we're doing the best we can. It's free. Podcast is free, so it's worth what you paid for it, I suppose.
It might still happen in the future, even with the backup. You never know.
Yep.
Yeah, who's to say?
Absolutely could
We're
happen.
amateurs.
That is true. So, boys, I wanted to do a quick holiday recap. How was your guys' holidays? Walker, let's start with you.
So good.
So good?
It was so good that I don't ever want to think about it again. No, it was just five of us. We were with my fiance's aunt, and their poor dog had to go to the animal hospital because he started having a seizure.
Ooh.
And then we had turkey from a restaurant.
Okay.
So, not my favorite. Not my favorite.
So that so good was sarcastic.
It was in
good.
fact sarcastic.
It
was very memorable, and honestly, even a memorable holiday with people that you love is still a good time. And I was with Chloe, and so that was very nice.
That's fair. That's very fair. Nick, how about you, man? How was your holiday?
It was pretty standard, run of the mill Thanksgiving for us. Like, went to Kristen's family's on Thursday. We were only there for a couple hours. Everybody had to scatter after that. And then the next day we drove back down to the same neighborhood about 30 seconds up the road to my dad's condo. and went and had Thanksgiving with him and my stepmom, my sister, and my buddy Mitch went with us. He was the best man in my wedding, and so we just hung out there for a couple hours and did whatever. And then my dad said, "Bring a cooler," because they drove back to Florida already. So he offloaded all of the freezer stuff, whatever they had that they didn't want to leave in the fridge, and then let me know that if we ever, while they're gone, wanted to throw a party, there's plenty of alcohol in their garage fridge that needs to be consumed. So
that's awesome.
Other than that, just hung out.
That speaking of striking memories, the garage fridge. This is a concept that I hold very highly in my life.
Yeah.
Is this not a normal practice in Texas, or?
No, I mean it is. It's a normal practice. It's just I just love the garage fridge. You cover the garage fridge in stickers. It's kind of a beater. There are always like sodas and beers in there. Garage fridge is a storied tradition.
Yeah.
My garage fridge has race car driver magnets, and then those little magnets you get from Rock Auto anytime you order car parts.
Oh, nice.
They every time you order parts from Rock Auto, they include a magnet with a picture of a car that somebody submitted that they built with parts from Rock Auto. So it's always like old station wagons and shit.
Hell yeah.
And then that's where all the Christmas cards end up, is on the garage fridge. If you send me a Christmas card, it goes on my garage fridge.
I was thinking I would make myself a pinup calendar, but just of myself, and then hang that up in my shop.
Yeah, that's good.
Little self-love is very important.
There you go. Yeah, the garage fridge, my grandpa had like the deep freeze in the left corner, and then immediately out the out the door to the garage, the garage fridge with like everything imaginable. And like I remember as a child, like being in the pool, and we weren't allowed to come in the house, but you keep like the Cokes and stuff in there.
Yeah.
You'd have to go around outside. You're like freezing in your towel, whatever. You're going in there, and you're just like praying you can find like that someone didn't drink the last Sprite that was in there or something, and you're like digging through all like the leftovers from whatever meal. We had like a cookout earlier, and they put them all in there, and you're digging out, and you find it. It's like the holy grail. You find like that crisp Coke or something, and you take it back with you. Yeah, I have that visceral memory. And then also my grandpa had like a lot of shelves in his garage, and he would it was so funny. He'd go to like Sam's Club or whatever and just buy like a ton of paper towel or whatever, like just stock them up. And then like all of our families would come over, and we just swoop, and we would just grocery shop at his house. Like on the way to our car, it's like, oh, we need this. And then he'd grumble about it, but I'm pretty sure he was doing it on purpose. So he knew what we were doing. So
hell yeah.
Yep. Great memories there. Yeah. Holiday recap for us. We went up, had a great time with Heather's family. Got to hang out with Dougie and Erica a little bit, which was awesome. Nice. Her parents, got to see her grandma, and then some family friends came over, and we just had a great time. Just kind of kicked it, and then honestly got to spend about 3-4 hours over there, which was a good time. Then we drove over about 40 minutes over to my parents' house, and had a little hangout there. My aunt actually brought bingo set, and then had like a basket full of just like all these like random little prizes, just like,
oh, that's cool,
little thing of Skittles, and like a little magnet that had like a little like Jesus poking around the corner, like says I saw that on there and stuff. So everyone was like, my uncle, he won and picked that up for his wife and stuff like that, and then we ended up we just had a good time. It was super relaxed, laid back. So we're going back up on Saturday. We're gonna wake up, head up early, and then we're doing our big Christmas, Thanksgiving mega celebration with my mom's side, all the cousins, everything. So we'll be up there again, and then boys, we are full swing, fully focused on Christmas, doing that. So I'm looking forward to it. But the one part of Christmas, and this is topic number one of the night, the thing that gives me so much, it puts just this stress on me like nothing else all year long. It's just like in a different place, the spectrum, is creating that Christmas list. For me, it is like an impossible task for me. And I struggle every single year with it. And so I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. Do you guys struggle to create your Christmas list? If
Mm.
so, what do you think that's about? If not, what is on your Christmas list? Because I may or may not still be actively working on that, and I would take suggestions. So, where do you guys come down on that?
I'm a fancy bitch, so it's never hard. But they're all so it's a fine balance because the things that I want are just a very few very expensive things. A 1996 diesel Toyota Hilux, for example, is not something that anybody could give me. Um, and other than like those aspirational things, there's not a ton. Um, Chloe and I haven't given each other crazy gifts for a while now. Often we'll pool our money and go on a fishing trip or something. Those sorts of experiential gifts, co-gifts or whatever that we would say, we want to do this thing together. And I haven't had to make a list for a bit. So my mom still gets me like a sweater or some socks or something. It's always lovely.
Oh
But
yeah, I love all the memes with like, it's like men's socks and underwear, like looking at like seeing
yeah,
Christmas coming up on the calendar or whatever, and it's just like the socks just like with the ball of the foot completely worn down to the tiniest little like single thread layer
right
across
across the
there.
ball of
So
your foot. Yeah.
yeah. So Nick, where do you
Yeah.
come down on it? Do you struggle as much as I do?
uh, I guess I didn't struggle as bad as I thought. Looking at the list I have submitted to my wife, um, but like
Submit.
we go we go back and forth a lot about it because generally throughout the year, if there's anything that I want, I'll just buy it.
Yeah.
Um, and then like half of the stuff is expensive that I put on
Yeah.
here. For instance, Winchester XPR blued bolt action 30-06 rifle, a Kimber 1911 45 ACP pistol, a couple Lego sets that cost north of $500,
Hmm.
stuff like that. Uh,
That you wouldn't just go and say like, today's the day I go spend $1,000 on a new rifle, right?
Yeah.
Like,
right, exactly. Yeah, well, that rifle's actually only like 650, but yes, the point stands.
oh, that's very reasonable. I don't know what your wife is doing.
Well, yeah, for Winchester with a walnut stock, like it's not a
Yeah,
composite. Yeah, it's great. It's a great
very
gun.
good.
Um, but yeah, so I always just end up buying it myself, and I'm the kind of person that I like. Kristen's big about just tell me what you want and I'll get it for you. I'm like, I don't. That ruins the whole experience for me. I need you to just get me something, and then if I don't like it, I'm
It has
gonna
to be
just
good.
pretend that I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
I'm
that's why
rarely
we
ever
started.
disappointed by gifts too, but
Yeah.
Well, that right there is why we started doing the experiential stuff for Chloe and I, is because like I'm also very not only am I fancy, I'm picky.
right,
And all the things I would want are like for my hobbies. And I'm like, wow, why did you get me, XYZ thing when clearly the model Z75 is a
right.
superior option,
Yeah,
right?
and you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably am partially to blame because there have been gifts in the past where
Oh, you're
she's gotten it
partially.
for me, and I was like, "Yes, this is cool," and then nearly immediately upgraded it to like it. For instance, there was one year she got me a pretty inexpensive steering wheel setup for video games, right? And then within probably 12 months, I had a nice Fanatec setup that I got that knew would cost $600 or $700. I ended up getting a really good deal from a friend who accidentally ordered two and forgot to give one back. Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, it was so, but yeah,
Shout out
stuff
to
like
Chuck.
that. Like it went from this nice little thoughtful gift to like, oh, hey, that was cool, but I'm just gonna go ahead and upgrade
Yeah.
that on my own. Thank you. So
Yeah, it gets the water gets muddied when you start touching on like your deep interests or like the
Yeah,
things that you have knowledge in. So like anything technology related for me, I would not want someone to buy it unless I've given them a specific link or I was with
right,
them and we
right.
did it together. Like I can wait. Like I'm that's one thing like I've developed over just like in adulthood is like a lot of patience with a lot
Sure.
of things that I would have, you know, I don't know, as kids, like it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait, you know, like that kind of thing. Like I have very vivid memories. We used to have like a like Christmas pageant type thing we did at you know, like a play or, you know, musical, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah, yeah,
every year, like with our children's church at you know, at church, like the class, we would work on
yeah.
it for the last quarter of the year and stuff, and it was cool. It was all really good memories and stuff, and getting opportunities to like learn lines and do that kind of stuff. So it was actually really nice. And one year I had like a bigger part, and I remember I desperately wanted Pokemon Yellow, desperately, like more than anything in the entire world. And I think Christmas probably was only like 2 days after the Sunday before. Let's go.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, I love that. And so it was only like, you know, it was only like 2 days later. And for doing well in the, you know, the play, my
Yeah.
mom gave it to me early, so she brought it
Oh,
to church, and I remember getting off that stage and running to her and like, did I do a good job, you know, stuff like that, and then her giving that to me early. So but viscerally I remember that and stuff. And so like as a kid, you know, you just had that one like tent pole. Another thing as a kid, I remember that there was one. It was the year the Wii came out, and I desperately, desperately, desperately wanted a Wii, and I opened everything, no Wii to be found. And I had been told, like my parents had told me, like, hey, you know, we can't find this anywhere. We're struggling, all this stuff.
yeah.
You know, we're working on it, working on it, working on it, and then like we got everything. Literally, I think they even let me start putting away the other gifts into my room.
Those
Like started
bastards.
carrying that bag, and then came back up, and it was behind the couch. And like, so like
Oh, there's
things
another.
like that. Like, I'm really, really excited to do that for my kids someday. Like that kind of stuff. And so, kind of Nick, like what we had talked about before, like what you're trying to do with the girls with your trip to Florida and what. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
sorry,
yeah.
if they're listening, but
Well, I
you know,
didn't even realize that was supposed to be a surprise. Otherwise,
right.
I wouldn't
But
have just blatantly
little things
mentioned it
like
in front
that.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, little things
Well,
like that. So, but impossible at this point. And I think it's an assortment of what you guys were kind of saying. It's like for Heather and I, joint bank accounts, everything comes out of the same like type of
Yeah.
thing. So like, there's not really a lot of
fluency.
surprises between the two of us.
Yeah.
I surprise her more than, but that's because I'm the one doing our finances month to month, you know, looking at it,
Right.
whatever. And she's just kind of la da 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 da, like, you know, swipe and do whatever. And it kind of works out. Um, and then the other side of it is like the only things that I really would buy for myself or ask for or are like technology type things that like I
Yeah.
am highly opinionated on. And so
Yeah.
I did come up with a couple of items, a couple of my key items. I wanted a couple of sawhorses. I
Nice.
need some clamps, need some. I'm asking for a circular saw. We got a couple of little projects we're looking into. It's just
Oh
stuff that
yeah,
when we're in
brother.
an apartment, I'm not holding on to that kind of stuff, you know. So
No,
kind of
no.
fleshing some of that stuff out, um, kind of getting into that realm, and then clothes, you know, doing that. But
I'm
outside of
just
that, I find
I'm
it very hard.
expecting socks and underwear because I get it every year, and that's like a thank you for doing that for me. That saves me a trip to Costco or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
where
so here's the thing. I'm even picky about my socks. I only buy darn tough socks. I think I have about 30
well,
pairs now.
yeah, if I'm buying them. So actually, speaking of the Costco, they have Kirkland signature merino wool, like tall socks, and they come in a 4-pack, and it's like $15. So I have several of those four
Good.
packs, and they're pretty good. They keep your feet pretty warm and dry. But like I'll get a couple 6 or 12 packs of regular ankle socks, and I'll just wear them around the house. And somehow I wear out the balls of my foot. That spot on every sock wears out insanely fast. I don't know if I just walk stupidly or what, but
Probably.
so I got
Sounds
it.
like.
And Kristen gets mad because I'll throw if I'm wearing a pair and one of them has a hole in it.
Yep.
I only throw that one away and
No,
Oh,
that's smart.
that's not what I
put
thought
the
you were
other
going to
one in the
say.
laundry.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
No, and then you just find a mate for it later.
yeah, sometimes it's
What?
much later.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. No, your
But
wife
yeah,
is wrong on this one. And
okay.
you can tell her I
I
said that.
I
Yeah, she's not
eat.
going to listen, but I'll pass the message along.
Yeah,
Yeah, please do.
yeah. I'm sure.
I
I'm
want her
sure
to
when
hate
she
me
listens to this, she'll be
prematurely.
real
Yeah.
offended by that. I eat both of them. I gotta now. It may not be both that I'm wearing because I only get like black cotton Hanes like ankle socks. That's all I wear. Like that's all I have, and it's fine because I know they're going to wear out over time. I don't need them to be perfect. I don't need to pay like a ton of money for my socks. I need them to not be the like athletic, like elasticy socks. That's what I used to only wear when I was playing like high school sports and stuff.
Mm.
Dude, the way that would make my shoes and feet stink so bad just because of like the fabric that those were. As
Yeah.
soon as I went back to normal fabric socks, they don't have to be white. They can be black. Cause I know sometimes like looking online, like people will say, oh, it's the dye in the socks. It's not. It like they can be black
It's
socks. It's fine.
material. Yeah.
It was just the material and stuff like that. So, but yeah, if they're bad, whatever. Sometimes I'll go through the drawer and I'll just look for whichever ones are worn down the most. And I just throw two of them away. I don't mess around with just throwing one away at a time.
Oh,
I can't do
I
that.
will take it off, throw it into the trash can, and then put the other one directly in the laundry basket.
I do appreciate that you actually get rid of it though, because the amount of times it does just end up in there, and then
not to give away too much of my tism, but like it's very, as you said, visceral, sensory thing for me. If I'm walking and part of my foot can feel the insole of my shoe, it's a real fucking problem.
Oh yeah,
Can't do it. So I just send my socks in to Darn Tough because they have the fucking awesome warranty. I've warrantied probably 10 pairs of socks over 10 years or something like that. It's free socks, man. Sponsor me, please, God. I'm so horny for these socks. I
we need to.
only wear wool socks all year round, 100% of the time. I do not wear cotton socks.
Darn Tough.
Oh my God, it's so good.
How tall are they?
Crew.
Okay.
But they have all the options. I wear crew hiking socks for 100% of the year.
Huh.
In case that was a surprise to anybody.
Only $25 a pair.
I mean, it's not cheap, but like
if they're getting replaced.
They have honored the warranty every single time. So I had I don't know, one pair we're like 3 pairs deep on that $25 I spent or whatever.
Are you getting the cool designs, or are you just going plain?
I get different designs, and in fact, on the throwing socks out, I have a couple pairs that are now singletons.
Mix and match.
Yeah, mix and match because their partner kicked the bucket.
Well, if the patterns get crazy enough, then it's cool because like you're mixing and
you're just they're fun. I like them. Please sponsor me.
This hunting socks might not be a bad idea. That's how I feel about what's the WeatherTech floor liners for your car.
Ooh, yeah.
I have a set in my Fiesta, and just the nature of pressing a clutch over and over and changing where your heel's resting, it'll wear a hole through them, and they've replaced 3 or 4 sets now. I'll just send them an email and say, hey, I got a hole in this from, regular wear and tear, and they'll go, okay. And then they'll send me a driver and a passenger side one. It comes in a 2-pack. So I have like 3 extra passenger sides floor liners. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. I love a good warranty.
Do you guys have kind of like what I was rattling off? Do you guys have any memorable gift experiences? Anything that pops to mind, like as a child, things like that?
Yeah, the year I got my gecko, who is still with us, by the way. I was 12. Motherfucker's going 18 now, something like that. He is
gecko's name?
Savick. It's a Star Trek character because I was really in that kick. When I was 12. Because again, I was 12, and my mom did not check how long these little bastards live. And she thought it was like a guinea pig or a whatever rabbit. A couple years, teach the kid how to take care of something or whatever.
How to deal with loss.
15 to 20, 25 years. And I mean, like, wow. he is going strong.
That's a worse way to teach you how to deal with loss, because 20 years of having a pet is really going to hurt.
It's brutal, man. I am so attached to this little lizard.
Yeah.
honestly. The amount of money I've spent in vet bills for the gecko is frankly absurd. Because he was $35 from Petco, whatever. I'm sure
Right.
my mom did not get a custom bred leopard gecko or whatever, and it has been a more than the lizard has been totaled many times over. That's all I'll say. But he's just vibing.
Not the total lizard. So
Not the total lizard. Well, no, not the he got I instructed Chloe earlier this evening to make sure he was misted appropriately and fed well. So
man, I need
he
that.
is he
I
is
need
in
that
fact
treatment.
getting
Your
that.
gecko's getting treated better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, what's your memorable?
Uh, we have a couple. There were my dad and stepmom always did a good job of surprising at least one of us. Generally, it was my younger brother, but before I think, okay, it's a long time ago, so I'm hazy on specifics. I remember the situation. I can't remember whether this was pre or post divorce. So, mom and dad, I apologize if I don't get this correct. But I remember the address to the house that we lived in. But it was our house on Plantation Lane. Just a little bit racist now that I think about it. It was like a split level. So you go in on the first floor, and then you get regular stairs to go upstairs, and like 5 stairs to go down into the half basement or whatever. And so we did Christmas. We got all our stuff. Um, and then we had a bonus room down there that kind of walked out to the backyard. And at a certain point after Christmas was done, my dad was like, "All right, let's go get something out of the room." And then there was a foosball table or air hockey table or something in there. My brother and I were fucking pumped.
Oh, sure.
I can't remember if that's the same Christmas that my dad got me the Jamiroquai Virtual Insanity album. Hold on. Is that the name of the album? Jamiroquai?
Yeah, virtual insanity.
Yeah, well, that's the name of the song. I actually was just listening to their discography yesterday because they go super hard. Anyway, that was another one where I was like, I remember getting that CD and thinking, what the heck is this? Like, it's a weird name. And then I listened to it and it rules very hard.
That's a great song.
Yeah, well, they have several. All right. Anyway, we're getting a little off topic. There was another year where we did the whole Christmas thing, and then my sister got a puppy in a box. We had our old golden retriever, Grace. And then a couple years after that, I believe, was the year my brother got his drum set. We did Christmas in the living room, and it was set up in my parents' office that we didn't usually go into. It was just like a computer room, essentially.
Sure.
And he went in there, got all pumped up. Now, the funny thing is that my brother always, forever, as long as he lived, every single year of his life on this planet, asked for a dirt bike for Christmas or his birthday, and he never got one. We had access to ride dirt bikes, but never got one at our house. And so it was always just a twinge of disappointment on his part where he'd get like something cool, but in the back of his brain, he's going, "It's not a dirt bike."
It's not a dirt bike, yeah.
So that's a running joke now. Anytime somebody gets a gift, doesn't matter what size it is, it goes, "Is it a dirt bike?"
Is it a dirt bike?
That's awesome. Yeah,
Hell
we're looking forward to, some point, creating those memories of our own and stuff. And I'm sure you guys have that experience. Are there specific things, like, say this year, like, are there specific things that the girls are like, oh my gosh, like these are the items, or does it fall more into like broad categories nowadays?
Yeah, most of what Riley wants is like makeup or skincare or clothes or whatever. She's at the age, she's 12. So Reagan put a lot of, I guess, not really makeup, but like she has a lot of perfumes and stuff on her list. But I think it's all mostly she's just kind of copying Riley's stuff.
Sure.
she also did include at number 5 on her list, it said puppy, and then it had a crying face that she drew a crying face because she knows we're not getting a puppy for Christmas.
Oh no!
And then she's sent several ideas to all of my family, and then she also wants Animal Crossing for the Switch.
Good
There you
gifts.
go.
She really wants that puppy.
She has for several years. It's going to be a little bit before we get a puppy.
My cousin did the incredible thing of I guess it's the least she can do. They have like 5-6 kids now that
Oof.
were like that are in their neck of the woods essentially, and so we all usually buy for all the kids. Like everyone buys something for each of the kids, and then like for the cousins we're gonna do like a Secret Santa, whatever, swap. We did a gift exchange, whatever. And then but she stepped up and broke down each of the kids, gave all their ages, gave the things that every kid is into, stuff like that. I'm like, thank you. Cause like at that point we have all the information we need. And then honestly, Heather was in that thread. And by time I think I was downstairs, she was upstairs. By the time I got upstairs, she already had like something for each of the kids in an Amazon cart. Like it was, and then we went through and refined it and it was perfect. So shout out anyone who's listening. If you're in that situation, do that for the people you love and they will get you and your kids the stuff that they want. You just need to tell them because it's hard to keep up with it. And I know that is always kind of a moving target. But one thing that I know that Walker, I cannot get you this Christmas, I would love to, is a way for you to keep the Bronco, as we talked about earlier.
Know.
Rest in peace. I desperately wish I could. There ain't no way we can do it. And so you were telling me a little bit before, but why don't you tell the people what's going on with the Bronco, and let's break it down. You said you need a little bit of therapy tonight about it.
Oh yeah, well,
the doldrums a bit.
The Bronco is a truck that I wanted forever, and I finally managed to convince myself I could get one when I moved to Austin because I was driving 10 minutes for work or whatever, and it was great. I loved it, and I found one, pretty cheap on Facebook Marketplace, and over the last couple of years, I put a lot of time and money into it and work, and then my fiance had to go and get herself into medical school in Houston. And the long and the short of it is it's a bad idea to drive a 30-year-old truck 300 miles back and forth from Houston every single week with no functional ABS or airbags at 80 miles an hour on I-10. So I had to sell it. I've had a different car doing that drive.
Right.
What was up, Nick?
I was going to say, don't you have a different truck you can drive?
I do. I drive my Maverick back and forth. But I pay an extra, $100 a month in insurance. And then the Bronco is living right now, or was, I guess, living at Chloe's parents' house. And I can't just leave it there indefinitely. So all the options for storing it, because we get 2 parking spots at our condo in Houston. And at our condo in Austin, when we're still living there, I could scoot. Nobody was checking, so I could just sort of like park the Bronco there, and whose Bronco is that? I don't know.
It's sick though, ain't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty rad.
No, we have strict 2 spots, and it's like $400 a month to store a car, or $300 a month or something, and I'd never get to drive it, and cost me more than it would cost me more per month than my current Maverick, my new car payment to keep it.
And that's pretty wicked.
And I can't do it. And I would barely ever get to drive it. Honestly, all of that, I would suck it up because I'm in a privileged position and I could afford it. But I would never get to take it off road in Houston because there's nowhere to go unless I want to drive it into the bayou. That's the off road.
Yeah,
you drive it a couple hours over to Austin, so then you can take it off road.
basically, and then I should just keep it in Austin. But then and on no permutation of these options was really acceptable, unfortunately. So alas, I had to sell it.
So how long? Remind me, because I remember when you got it, or
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember. I don't actually remember the date you got it, but I remember the time you got it. I remember when we started seeing
Yeah, yeah.
pictures and hearing about it. I actually heard you hemming and hawing about it for a long time because didn't you have to go back and forth and get a lot of stuff checked out and all that stuff? Was that
Oh
with
yeah.
the Bronco? I remember
Oh
you
yeah. All
going through a long process and then finally just in our Discord, a picture popped up. You're like, "Look what's
bought it.
mine," and it's like, "Here we go." You know. So
Yeah,
what
it
what was that
photographs really
process like?
well. Old cars, the same the world over, right? Everything's broken all the time. Trying to figure out what you can get away with not fixing. So I mean, like, I knew I was going to buy one. I sold my Subaru Impreza Outback Sport in Wisconsin when I moved because I was still working remotely at that point, and it would have cost me like $1,000 to move it, and at that point the used car market was going bananas. So I was going to make 2 grand off selling it from what I bought it from. My like 10 year, but it was a 2011. It was like a 10-year-old used Subaru. I was going to make money on it, so I was like, I'll just sell it, and Chloe and I'll share a car. And then I got a different job, and then needed a car, and it was a great excuse. So the
Yeah,
process was,
because you and Chloe were sharing a car for a while, weren't you?
yeah, we were for about 6 months,
Yeah, because I
which
I
was
think I
fine. I mean,
remember.
like, it was totally fine when I was working from home. It was no problem.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember, and then you started having to drive it more. I remember having conversations with you. You're like, "Yeah, it's getting a little old," and then it was like that was the solution. Like you got the Bronco, and it's like, it wasn't exactly
it's
what she
nothing.
wanted, but it's
Well,
really
okay,
rad, and here's a picture of it, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's really rad." Like every
it
time.
was cool, and I could get away with it because when it broke down, I could still drive her car to work,
Yeah,
which is like the optimal scenario until we had to move to Houston. So that was when I bought the Maverick, just to speed that process up, which is a great truck. I love it. I'm not upset about it, but yeah, now the Bronco has to go and has gone. In fact,
yep.
got my check. Let's see if it clears.
There you go.
Hope so, but very very sad day. The long and the short of it is, I wish I could have kept it. Um, I just would keep hemorrhaging cash until I sold it. So and you're gonna hemorrhage cash with an old car or anything. There's an old adage about the happiest day in a boat owner's life is the day they buy their boat and the day they sell their boat,
Yeah.
and it's the same with old cars.
Yeah, we have
But
a. I'm sure I've talked about it. We put new tires on our old shitty F-150, and then
yep.
I get it home and I go to check all the fluids because I was going to drive it the next morning, an hour to go hunting, and I checked the trans fluid. It's good to go. I checked the oil and the dipstick's dry, and I was
Uh-oh.
like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I got to figure out where the oil leak's coming from. So it's just still sitting in my driveway, not moving, but the tires are inflated now. So
Oh, good.
Hey,
yeah,
you put
Well,
your
there's
winter
always
air in
something.
there.
I know how it
yeah, baby
goes.
steps.
Once we get a more permanent house that I can park something shitty in front of, I will be. I'm on the hunt. I'm always on the hunt for a 1996, that Hilux. That's the new goal. That is, I do consider that to be the greatest vehicle ever made. The
What'd
choice
you
of
say it
militias
was?
everywhere. A 1996 diesel Toyota Hilux with a 22 RE and the manual transmission. It is the greatest vehicle that has ever been put on this planet.
Huh.
Is the Hilux the one in Top Gear that they like just annihilated and it still ran?
Yeah, yeah. No, it is literally an indestructible vehicle.
I mean,
Especially
yeah,
with the
they like demoed a building with one on top of it or something and drove it out of the rubble or something ridiculous like that.
it when you see a truck driving in a militia video with a anti-aircraft gun on the back, I will bet you any amount of money that
There's
is a
a
Hilux.
mounted a 50 cal in the bed. Yeah.
Uh, it is a god among trucks.
They're so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And not cheap if you want a good imported one from Japan, because you want to make sure it hasn't come from somewhere else. Which,
Where else?
Anywhere that it wouldn't have been nicely treated, basically.
Any country that starts with a IR or ends with a Stan, you don't want those ones.
Yeah. Well, those ones, they don't let go of their nice, technicals, because they're, plus I don't think the United States lets you import them with 50s on the back.
It's
So
true. I think most of
tragic.
those that go out of commission for the militia type groups are usually put out of commission by an A-10 or some sort of Black
Yeah.
Hawk attack.
It's a rapid, unscheduled disassembly rather than a slow demise. Which reminds me, I think often of I had heard a semi-apocryphal story of a guy who sold his plumbing truck to auction or whatever, and then started getting calls like a year later or something, because the truck had gotten sold a number of times and ended up in an ISIS recruitment video, but nobody ever bothered to take the decals off.
Yeah.
And it still had, Jim's plumbing and, phone number on it left over from, that's your lesson right there, folks.
Yeah, people out here trying to get tax breaks and stuff throw in there. Do you drive your personal vehicle for and throw like
Yeah.
stamping or whatever on the side? It's a write off, whatever.
That's
Do that. It could end up in ISIS's hands, and you're getting called by people all around the world. So just
Yeah,
think about
don't do
that
that.
next time.
Don't do that.
But I was thinking, when we were talking about this earlier, I was thinking, I was like, I wonder what and you literally got me there.
Yeah,
You
it's fun.
already
I
answered it
have my
with the
check right
highlights.
here.
But I was thinking, I was like, what is, what is that perfect car? Like, what are we looking for? What would we, if we had all
Oh,
the
yeah.
space, didn't have to worry about all that stuff, and could get any car from any time that you're looking for. And again, we talk about cars almost every single week on this. A lot of this is new to me, whatever, things of that sort. I would kill to have a Batmobile, like an actual functioning Batmobile. And I
So
saw,
we're not talking. There's no restriction on price, right?
oh, no.
This is
No, we're
pure
just talking
fantasy.
about like,
Okay.
Okay, well then, like the Tumbler, yeah, that's a fucking awesome car.
oh,
You know?
absolutely.
Ford GT40. Easy.
So
One of the
GT40.
best
I like.
supercars ever made.
I mean, like a sports car would be awesome, but like, do I also get access to like a place to like really drive it? Because I think the saddest thing in the world is a vehicle that's designed for something, whether it's racing or off road, that then gets used not for that. Like all the kitted out 4x4s that drive around Houston and have not seen an inch of dirt in their life, or the sports cars also in Houston that get obliterated by the pavement and never get to go on a track. Like, that's
That's right.
sad.
Yeah.
If I did
There's
own a Ford GT, I would be driving it around 465 like an absolute maniac. I'll tell you.
That's
I
true,
mean,
and that's fair.
just lapping Indy.
I'm pretty sure that gets you out of the ticket. But Your Honor, come on.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty
running.
sick, right?
If I see a cop, I'm not stopping. I'm going.
Yeah.
The I was thinking about like the idea. So I've been to Houston one time, went had some friends that live there, and we would set up time to, we'd say, hey, we're gonna go to dinner at this place. And we never set the time for dinner. We just set the time we were leaving for dinner, because we always knew it was going to, like, we need to leave about an hour before we were going to be hungry, is essentially what it was. Like, we were leaving a little
Yeah.
early every single time. And this could have just been, I don't even remember where they lived, what part of town, and where they were taking us. Like, I didn't have any concept of like where we were heading in the city. It just, every single time we tried to go anywhere, like, it was stop and go traffic the entire time. An hour at least to get to where we were. And we were in Houston proper at the time. So, but the
Well,
idea of
okay.
just, the idea of just
Houston
being like
proper.
being on the interstate and then seeing a supercar pull up next to you and you are doing the same stop and go creeping. It's just like there's something so funny about that.
It's so fucking sad, honestly. But to be fair, Houston proper is like an hour across if you're flooring it on the highway.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
like depending on where you're going, the highway traffic is very bad. If you're going around like around the neighborhoods and if I'm just driving, street level, going where I want to go, it's actually not that bad, except that it's Houston. So, your mileage may vary. The roads are the worst of any I've ever seen because the whole thing's getting sucked down into the swamp. And because everything floods, all of the like commercial parking lots have these bonkers steep angles on the like I don't know, transition between the road and the parking lot. So you just constantly if you have any sort of like low to the ground car, you're just tearing up your
Bottoming
bumpers
out. Yeah.
constantly, which often happens to these very nice sports cars. So it's just, I mean, like, and there's a lot of them because there's a lot of rich bastards in Houston.
That is true.
All that oil money.
Yep. Yeah. I don't really like when it comes to like vehicle type things for me. I don't have a whole lot of strong. So I basically have to go with like a fantasy type thing. However, I did see a video that I think it just came out. It just got posted out that Joe Burrow, quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, he purchased one of the 10 Batmobiles from Christopher Nolan's Batman movies, and it's getting delivered soon. So he was talking about it, and it's like fully functioning, can drive it. I don't think it's street legal, but it actually
I
is
don't
drivable.
think it's street legal.
Well, I don't think they made modifications.
It's street legal if you have enough money.
That is
it's
fair.
like saying a tank is not street legal. Who's going to stop you?
That's a great
You're in a
question.
tank.
Right.
Pull me over.
Yeah, and I guess like you never know. Like, so they have a vehicle. Obviously, it was functioning enough for the movie, but it's like, well, how much is that actually
Right.
set dressing? Things added on top of a sort of normal vehicle. Like, obviously, it's going to be like incredibly cool, off the wall, that type of situation. But it's like, how much of that is included? How much of that is, and then even like how much of it is CGI or things of that sort. So I don't know I don't have the answer to that, but it's just one of those things. Like the idea of just being in something that is like that dynamic, even just to get to hang out and see it, or mess around with it would be really, really sick. It's kind of my thought on it, but
if you want one, it's $3 million according to this website.
I got a couple other line items that I'm going to take care of first. But I may try to fit that into maybe like 2027, maybe the budget. We'll get in there.
It's in the budget.
Yeah. ForcedToPod to the moon. We'll go crazy with it. So
hell yeah.
But boys, we're doing a little short and sweet 2-topic episode tonight. Appreciate you guys being here with us. Appreciate everyone at home. Again, for those of you who reached out, I appreciate you doing that. Continue to leave your comments. Spotify Wrapped came out. If you've listened to ForcedToPod on there, you may see us on there, like I did. I listened back to all the episodes on Spotify.
I didn't even check.
That's hilarious.
Now, here's the crazy thing. There's actually a creator side. There's like a Spotify Wrapped for creators. It popped up, and then like it popped up at a very inopportune time while I was at work, and I thought it was like my Spotify Wrapped for my personal account, and it took me in there, and I clicked it, and then it disappeared, and it's gone. I have no idea how to get it back, so I couldn't see like metrics and stuff of that sort. But if you guys, if you're listening, listen on Spotify, listen anywhere. Feel free, send us a little screenshot, something of that sort. That would make my day. And then the last thing I'll say, with the issues we had last week, I did go in and I recorded a little clip and added it to the end of the YouTube version of last week's podcast. I did what I was thankful for because we had a whole third topic that we didn't get into. Plus, we did a little closing media. Forced a book club type thing. We were talking about what we were reading and stuff. I figured maybe when we have a little more time, or Walker, you get back to your place, whatever, because you had examples and you had books that you talked about and you pulled out last week. I knew we didn't have that this week, so I didn't want to get back into that, but we'll circle back to that and we'll talk about that. So, but appreciate you guys for listening. Anyone who's at home, hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next time.